All right, here we go. We have a Detroit legend in the building. Jalen Rose, welcome to Vlad
What
TV.
up, though? And congratulations. I feel like I arrived. I asked you before we started how many years you've been doing this. You said 11.
hmm
Congratulations on your movement.
And you actually reached out early, I remember. Yeah, you DM'd me on Twitter. We were
No
talking
doubt.
about doing something,
Yes, indeed.
and some years later,
Yes, indeed.
here we
Because,
are.
as the social media boom started to happen and YouTube clips started to become something that people were making popular, I saw you making moves in that space. I was doing it too. Started my little Jalen TV at the time. I had my thing going as well.
Mm.
And then just graduated into now working for ESPN.
Yeah, man, congratulations. Like, people are lucky to get a few years in professional sports, and that's it. You had a long run in the NBA and then flipped it into an even longer run in television. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. I am in my world, this is I'm celebrating 30 years.
Wow.
I'm celebrating the 13 years I got a chance to play in the NBA. The 3 years I got a chance to play at the University of Michigan,
hmm
which were terrific, being a member of the Fab Five, the 4 years in high school.
hmm
And then now working for ESPN, this is what my 11th year. Wow. And I've been covering the finals since 2003 when it was the Lakers and the Nets. New Jersey, they weren't even in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
So, I saw your movement and I appreciate you supporting mine, but it's what we do.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. It's your first time here. You were born and raised in Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Born in the 70s, so you grew up in the 80s.
Mm,
Uh, your father wasn't just a basketball player, but he was a first round draft pick.
correct.
But you guys had never met.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly happened there?
So my father, my biological father, Jimmy Walker, was the number one pick in the 1967 NBA draft. Just had Earl the Pearl Monroe on Jalen and Jacoby recently, who was also in the draft.
Yep.
Love Clyde Frazier, who was also in that draft. And so he and my mom weren't clearly in a relationship. And so when I was born, it was more so I was used to it's almost like you don't miss what you never had.
Okay.
So being the youngest of four, having a different father from my brothers and sisters, and growing up, like you said, in Detroit, unfortunately, it seemed like it was commonplace for there to be a single parent in the home. So I didn't feel like I was missing anything.
Right. But, people have kids out of wedlock
Hmm.
and, things happen, people move around, but he knew it's not like he didn't know who you were until later in life. He has this son who becomes a McDonald's All American and then becomes part of the Fab Five and then joins the NBA when he himself was a star NBA player. Why was there no connection to at least, hey, he's following in my footsteps, he's doing even better than I did? Like,
I think he had a level of shame
mm,
attached to the fact that he didn't know one of his kids and probably didn't have the best relationship with allegedly a lot of his other kids also.
oh, okay.
And so being somebody that was so very successful at what he does, and for those people who get a chance to follow college basketball, he's one of the greatest performers ever to do it.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest performances at the Garden were Jimmy Walker when he played at Providence. Okay. And so there was a reason why he was the number one pick. And this is a long time ago. Master P had just started working with Snoop. I remember this because I was staying in LA, had a spot in Santa Monica at the time. They was P, it's my family, congratulations on this film, had just came through and kicked it. And he had left. I remember having the remote control in my hand upstairs at the spot. Flipped it to the 1972 All-Star game. Saw my father in the game.
hmm
It was just like really bugged out. I was like by myself, made it to the NBA, achieved my goal, my dream, and all of a sudden, boom, this is wow. It's almost indirectly looking in the mirror because my brothers and sisters, they're not, collegiate or high school big time athletes. And so he's out there, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Dave Bing, who's also my godfather. And so understanding what he got accomplished and being young, knowing that I was bitter, like all youngsters would be. I had his basketball card. I knew about his legacy. I knew that he wore number 24. So being young and out of spite, and at the time immature. In high school, I wore number 42.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do the opposite. Like I'm gonna make sure not only I'm gonna ball and win state championships and stuff like that, but he's gonna know my name one day. And it ultimately became a motivating factor.
Well, you guys actually spoke on the phone at some point.
We did.
How was that conversation?
We did. I was playing for the Pacers. I was at Dale Davis's house. Austin Crozier, who was also my teammate at the time, attended Providence. And I think he had some sort of tie with the athletic director. And he reached out to him just trying to represent on my behalf and got a phone number for me. And so he gave me the phone number. And what he didn't realize is I'd been walking around with a letter that Mitch Albom gave me the night before we played Carolina in a championship game. So that's 94. So I've been walking around with this letter directly and indirectly for 7 to 8 years that he had written for me. And I just felt like I wasn't going to open it until I felt like I was emotionally stable for whatever was going to be inside of the letter.
You had an unopened letter for 8 years.
I did.
Wow.
Absolutely. My third year in college and my first handful or so years in the league. And when I felt like I made it, in my mind, not the rest of the world, when I looked in the mirror and was like, I'm confident enough to whatever's going to be in this letter, I'm ready for it. So we were at the house. They were playing poker. I like to watch poker, hang out with my peoples that do, but for some reason, I just never tried to play. Now, I play some spades or some craps or something like that, but that's another subject. So I'm like, I got this letter. I got this number. I'm about to go call him. So I walked in the back, Dale's my guy. I walked to the back and whatever. I call one number. A really gracious lady answers the phone. And, but she was like, this is not a good number to contact him anymore. So I didn't know what their relationship was like. I didn't want to pry any further, but I appreciated the fact that she gave me another number to call. And that led me to, I think, get a chance to speak to one of his sisters. And so she was kind of telling me a history of what she knew about the situation. She was telling me that, their mom had died, and unfortunately he didn't make it to the funeral. I remember running to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at a basketball game. He was like, yo, I used to go by your grandmother's house. She used to have amazing cooking. That type of thing. Older NBA players just kind of showing me love as somebody that they saw coming up by one of their brethren. And so understanding, his history and his lineage and our disconnect, I felt like, all right, I'm mature enough. I'm about to go call. And so I'm on the phone with her and she like, well, he allegedly has 13 kids by 11 women.
Okay.
Allegedly, again, if I'm 1 or 2, 4 or 5 off, this is all speculation that as a 46-year-old man learning things about my father along the way, these are some of the kind of urban legends, no shots and no shade. I wouldn't be 6'8" playing in the NBA and have no, negative energy towards him at all. None. I wanted life. And so she was like, but I got another number for you to call.
Okay, this is the third number now.
Yeah, this is the third number. Feel free to reach out to me, whatever. She gave me a number. A lady answered. She was like, hold on. I was like, heart started pumping. He got on the phone. I was just like, this is Jalen. Thank you for taking my call. Because, I have that energy since this is the third number I've called. And again, this is before, like young people probably see this now, like you think about social media or why you ain't just DM them or why you ain't just text them. Like the whole phone situation was way different. This is when people was using landlines.
Right.
Okay.
A cordless phone was a big deal back then, right?
Yes. So when I finally got him on the phone, I appreciated him being on the phone because I'm pretty sure that he probably anticipated I was going to call at some point, or maybe he didn't. And I just told him, thank you. I told him I loved him. I told him I would look forward to meeting him. And he was really humble. He was like, he just wanted me to know that at no point in my life did he want to come and just try to act like, he was going to take credit for what I accomplished or be a distraction for me in any way, shape, or form. And he really scoffed at the notion that a book was being written about me and that I got a letter from him the night before the biggest game that I ever played in, which was also in the letter.
Which you hadn't read at the point of talking to him.
I'm holding it in my hand.
Gotcha.
So he's giving me the gospel that he basically had written 8 years ago about how he just didn't like how the whole process had played out while I was in college. He felt like I was being exploited by the entire book situation. He felt like he was being exploited because as it went on, as we now see, to become a bestseller and all of the great things that the book has accomplished, I guess his foresight was accurate when he gave that depiction.